What's up, everybody? This is Harley, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Unapologetically Spicy podcast. I've been feeling really low lately, and I've also been trying to remember the importance of actively practicing self care, especially in this world where it feels like everyone is just telling me to go fuck myself. It's raining here where I am now, so if you hear the rain in the background, excuse me, but my mic must be that good. Anyway, I wanted to release this episode last week with all talk about the announcement of Kamala Harris as the Democratic presidential pick and Sonya Massey. There were several tweets on X, formerly known as Twitter. I will never call it just X, I'm sorry. Reminding black women to brace themselves, not embrace, brace themselves for what's to come regarding the presidential race. And isn't it crazy that as a society, we have what essentially amounts to a trigger warning for life? Look at social media. Look at how they judge every single thing Harris has done in the distant past and the present. The world is getting, in real time, what it's like to exist as a black woman. Like, one of the recent topics is shaming Harris on code switching. What a fucking privilege it is to be unaware of what code switching is and how we, as black people, use it to navigate society. What a fucking goddamn privilege it is to not have to worry about people questioning if you're qualified for a certain position. What a goddamn privilege to not hear, oh, this person must be a DEI hire. Why does society feel the need to tear people, specifically women, especially black women, down? Why is it that it's Harris slept her way to the top instead of Harris went to school, had a ton of jobs that gave her the necessary experience for a certain job and is now applying for said job? Despite it all, Harris is still persevering because she has to. But she has the support of so many demographics of people. My favorite development from all of this is Megan Thee Stallion's Hotties for Harris, and Harris challenging that orange felon while playing Kendrick's Not Like Us in the background, which to me, absolutely diabolical. Now, on the other end of the diabolical spectrum, we have the case of Sonya Massey. No, I am not going to watch that police footage, and I never will. There's so many videos on Facebook and TikTok and Twitter and news stories circulating about her. And at the end of the day, all I could say is, I'm tired. I'm tired of the new names added to the Say Her Name hashtag. I'm tired of our lives meaning nothing. She begged y'all to not hurt her when she answered the door. She knew. She would have been stupid to not know. And this didn't have to happen. That man, and I refuse to say his name because we need to be saying Sonya's name, not that wicked man's name. That man, he had so many warning signs. So many warning signs in his background. And y'all still let him work on the police force. Multiple police forces at that. Stories like these frighten me as a neurospicy black woman. I panic about being pulled over, and every time I drive, I do a mental check to make sure I don't have anything suspicious in my car, which I never do, and that I have all my necessary documentation like my license, my registration, making sure I have my app on my phone with my insurance card, all that jazz. I get anxious whenever I see cops in public. And it's so confusing because your whole life you're told if you just do what you're told and you follow the law, you won't get in trouble. But meanwhile, all these women, they followed the laws and they died for it. And for what? It feels like there's no real change in sight. This past week, I shared with my friends that I'm at the point where I'm ready to just let my impulsivity win and just move overseas to somewhere like Japan or Korea. A friend of mine already living in Japan said the culture may not be great because of children, Japanese children, making ignorant comments. And honestly, I take the ignorant comments over the daily threat to my existence from the American police any day. And that's not to say that all ignorant comments don't hurt. Just look at the white women who were butthurt this past week at the Olympics. One of them being forced to upload an apology to Simone, and the other causing controversy over a biological woman's gender. All because she got punched so hard in the boxing match she was participating in. Meanwhile, there's an athlete who raped a 12-year-old who's now only getting attention because of this boxing controversy. And again, I am so tired. I am so tired of feeling like my identity or existence is invalidated. We're just trying to make it through the day without having a meltdown or breakdown or being too overwhelmed. It's hard to want to stay on top of the news when you hear these stories. Why, yes, sometimes I do wish I was living under a rock and blissfully unaware of the chaos around me. But what good does that do for me? Is that even possible? Maybe not. Which is why we must practice self-care. It's finally time for the self-care episode that I promised. After these past few weeks, or months, or years, whatever applies to you, I'm sure you need it. We as Black women often face unique barriers to accessing mental health resources because we don't want to be labeled as crazy or unable to handle our responsibilities. The lesson that we, myself included, need to learn and practice is that seeking support is actually a strength and not a weakness. Self-care isn't just going to the spa, although that will be in my list of suggestions for you. No, self-care can include something that seems as simple as getting enough sleep. Unfortunately, because of the strong Black woman stereotype I mentioned in the stigma, we are forced to carry what feels like the world on our shoulders. To hell with that, I say. We are going to practice self-care as a form of resistance against the stereotype and the societal norms that cause us to burn out, melt down, and negatively impact our health. With that said, I'm going to try to give as many free self-care tips as I can, and then I'll get into some of the stuff that costs money. Hopefully, there's something in here for everyone. So, stay tuned. Tip number 1. Cry. No, actually. It may sound like a joke, but if I could tell you one of the most important tips of self-care, and there are a lot of important tips in my personal opinion, crying is one of them. Why do I say that? Well, for one, I'm super hard on a daily basis. I also tell myself to not cry a lot, even if a situation deserves it, or whatever feelings I have bottled up inside are about to bubble over. If you're anything like me, you probably feel the same way. I don't let myself feel the things that I need to feel. So I say to you, cry. Cry in your car, cry to your favorite sad song, cry into a pillow, cry into a friend's arms, cry and grieve. Grieve the apology you never received. Cry because life is hard. Cry just because. Tip number 2. Listen to your body. Your body is your temple. If your body is hungry or tired, give yourself a rest, or a snacky snack, or a meal. Because of my ADHD, I do forget to eat. And then I'll remember at like 3 in the afternoon that I haven't had a meal all day that day. And then I have to scrounge up the motivation to make something. Don't put off taking care of your body because you have to do or finish this one last thing. Just stop. Stop. Take a step back. Go get something to eat. Speaking of food, find low spoon low spoon healthy foods. It's important to feed the inner goddess, or God for my listeners who are men, so you feel energized enough to get through your day. So if you can buy, like, I don't know, maybe a bag of carrots from the grocery store. What else? I like chips sometimes. Some people like trail mixes. So anyway, some low spoon foods, snacky snack foods, or frozen meals or something like that to get you through your day. Tip number 3. Go to your local library and get a library card. Once you do that, or if you already have one, see if your library has a partnership with an audiobook provider. Check out audiobooks for books that you've been wanting to read but haven't had a chance to, or comfy books that you've already read, so you don't have to use spoons to read the books yourself. I, this year, have fallen more and more in love with audiobooks. It's been so great to listen to books I wouldn't be able to purchase from places like Amazon Kindle or Barnes & Nobles or Books A Million. In fact, some of this episode is inspired from a chapter in a book called Protecting My Peace, Embracing Inner Beauty and Ancestral Power by Elizabeth Liebel. And I'm really sorry, apologies in advance if I mispronounce the author's name. Tip number 4, therapy. I cannot stress that enough. I know, finding a Black therapist is hard. In an online survey commissioned by the Exhale app, 60% of us said it's difficult for Black women to find and access formal health resources. I'm blessed and one of the few lucky ones to have a female Black therapist. And I have never felt more seen and heard. It's truly a blessing to find and work with a Black therapist when you can actually find one. I found mine through a service called Headway. Shout out to Headway. Please sponsor me. Although therapy does, of course, cost money, you may be able to find some discount codes out there for BetterHelp or Talkatree or something like that. I know I have an app on my phone called Jerry, and if you use some of their little points or whatever, it gives you like 20% off or 15% off of a few months of BetterHelp. So try that. I know also BetterHelp may also give you financial aid depending on your income circumstances or financial circumstances. So check that out. Speaking of the Exhale app that I briefly mentioned, it does seem very promising as well. I'm personally not able to access it without doing a free trial, and knowing me, I won't unsubscribe in time before they charge me. So if any of you try out that app, please let me know how you like it. I'm really interested in finding out more. What was I on? Tip number 4? Let's say it was 4, and go to tip number 5. Tidy up your space. That means going through that big pile of laundry you may have in your room. Don't worry, I'm not judging you, because I just called myself out too. So tidy up your space. Give yourself a little bit of breathing room, in your space, so you have a little less to stress about. Let's see. Let's do some rapid fire ones. Dancing, twerking is definitely a form of self care. So twerk if you like to twerk. Doodle, draw. I used to draw anime or manga style, so draw. Sing. I love to sing. Usually on Fridays, I like to go out to a bar that has karaoke. One of my friends hosts it. So I sing, even if I'm hella nervous during it. Write. I used to write short stories, and I have a ton of short stories that I haven't finished yet that I could get back into. So writing is good. Basically, participate in an art form that you love. And it's okay if you're not good at it. And it's okay if you feel nervous about it. All right, let's do some other rapid fire ones. Burn some incense. Scream into a pillow. Take warm baths. And screaming into a pillow, that makes me think of the scene in Lilo and Stitch where Nani and Leo both are screaming into a pillow. So, little throwback for you. Anyway, again, take warm baths. Treat yourself to a self-massage. Not just the sexy kind. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Or, if money allows it, go to a massage parlor. Personally, I love Korean spas. If you have a chance to go, please do. They feel and are amazing. They have different services. Sometimes they have like a restaurant inside the spa. They have specialty rooms like a Himalayan salt room or like a special specialty stone rooms. They also offer facials, massages, things like that. Again, Korean spas, amazing, feel amazing. If you have a chance to go, go. I know the first Korean spa I ever went to, they had a Groupon for the entrance fee. So check Groupon or Living Social to also get deals on massages and stuff. Yes, those are still around. What else? Other self-care tips. Stretching. I don't stretch personally, and I should. I always tell myself that I should, especially in the morning because I got back pain. So stretching is important. Other forms of self-care. Drinking water. I know my fellow brats out there just hissed at me for saying that, but give me a break. I don't always drink water either, but I can't deny that it's very important, especially to keep these luscious lips soft when you're giving kisses. Mwah. Other forms of self-care. Laughing. I watch way too much true crime on TV, and I listen to one of my favorite podcasts, Sisters Who Kill. So it's a lot of darkness, but when you get a chance, watch something funny. Watch stuff like Abbott Elementary, shout out to Quinta, or throwback shows like Living Single or Martin. God, I just aged myself a little bit. Or if you're on social media, just scroll through Black Twitter. Black Twitter is a riot. Or go to the subreddit for Black Twitter for some laughs. So do like a full belly laugh. You'll feel very good afterwards. Now, a self-care tip that is still hard for me to do is creating healthy boundaries. And the part that's hard is not the creation of the boundaries, it's sticking to them. There have been so many days where I miss my ex-fiance and wish things could go back to the way they were, even though it's unhealthy. But my therapist this week, she said something that I want to share. And I'm not going to be able to quote her verbatim, but I'm going to try to paraphrase the best I can. So what she basically said is that there's nothing wrong with going back because you're an adult and that's your choice to make those types of decisions. But if you are going to go back, they should have put the work in, like the actual work, to be better. Or else you're going to repeat the same cycle over and over and over again. And that stops me from going back because he's probably not going to do the work. So stick to your boundaries. Create healthy boundaries and stick with them as best as you can. So other self-care tips. Make sure you schedule some time for fun or play. I know that when I made my plan for today with the 2 things that I needed to do, I also made a plan to play at least 1 hour of The Sims 4 before bed. So, yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do once I go ahead and publish this episode. But again, I can give you all the self-care tips in the world of how to take care of yourself, how to make yourself feel better. And it's hard to make us feel better because of all the systematic violence and racism that's out there in America and the world. But I know self-care is hard. Life is hard. But my dear, I want you and I need you to stay encouraged. You're doing a great job. And I'm going to leave you with the most important self-care tip of all. Even more important than crying. The most important self-care tip of all. Breathe. If you're vibing with me, make sure you drop the Unapologetically Spicy Podcast a follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcast fix. Follow the podcast on Instagram at unapologeticallyspicypod or on X, formerly known as Twitter, at unapollospicypod. Want to talk about the podcast online? Use hashtag unapologeticallyspicypod to start the conversation. Make sure you leave a comment on the show's episode or page on Spotify, or leave a review on our official Facebook page. Don't forget to tell the important people in your life about what we're trying to do here. And until next time, lovelies, stay spicy.